Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the morning forum of today. The Honorable Miss Zurina binti Khairuddin, distinguished panelists, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank to all of the audience in front of me. Thank you very much for attending our forum for today about heterophobic and homophobic jokes among Malaysians. Before the forum begins, allow me to introduce to all of you about our panelists for today because most of them have a lot of knowledge and also experiences about this topic that we will discuss. Right on my left is our first panelist, Dr. Siti Sahira Adila binti Cik Zabario. She is a psychologist from Prince Court Medical Center with 4 years hands-on experience. Beside her is Dr. Nurul Ainajwa binti Abdul Latif. She is the commissioner from Sohakam, which is the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia. Next to her is Dr. Wan Muhammad Faris Aidil bin Wan Roslan from Rutgers University in New Jersey as our sociologist. And our last panelist is Professor Dr. Muhammad Akmal bin Asmari Afan, our linguist specialist from University of Oxford in England. Hope all of you in peak of health with me, Sharifah Aisyah binti Said Alawi, as your moderator today. As we all know, LGBT is no longer foreign nowadays. I bet everyone here knows of the term of LGBT. LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. But do you know there is a term of LGBTQ? Yes, okay. So the Q represents keyword or question. It means that particular person is having a questionable identity about his or her gender. So it is also known as a non-binary. A non-binary gender is essentially a gender that is not strictly a woman or a man, and it is real. Now let's talk about jokes because of our topic. So joke means a thing that someone says to cause amusement or laughter, especially a story with a funny punchline. Heterophobic jokes is something that a person said to the opposite gender, which is usually offensive and vice versa, while homophobic joke is a joke made either by a man or a woman, but the context of the joke is gay. Hence, the topic of our forum today is heterophobic and homophobic jokes among Malaysians. Is it common or uncommon? So for the first question, I would like to ask it to Dr. Sahira. From your experience, what do you think of heterophobic and homophobic jokes among Malaysians as a psychologist?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Aisha. Speaking from my experience, since I've been working in this profession since 4 years ago, I have encountered quite a number of victims who had been sexually harassed. People might think all of these jokes are just a normal thing to do on a daily basis without thinking in sexist jokes in workplace, schools, and other occasions. Some of my patients came to me crying because she had to face this in order to please her superior. Sadly, every time the perpetrator gets called out, he will proudly say it's just a joke. Every victim I have session with are very traumatic of what happened to them. So back to the homophobic jokes, in Malaysia, they are very quick to judge when someone is homosexual. People are easy to assume he or she is gay or lesbian because of the way they behave. They even came out with a lot of terms such as kunyit, dona, and pengkit. Back 2 years ago, only someone who behaved feminine would be called gay, but now it is easier to assume someone who has abs, muscles, and most likely loves to go to gym are gay. As these kinds of jokes are being normalized today, the society is immune and make it as if it's okay. People who do these jokes tend to say spiteful remarks. For example, you need to man up because you are a man. You cannot do this and you cannot do that. And they don't even feel bad after what they said to the victim. Because people around them also find these disgusting jokes as something funny. So as a psychologist, I need to remind you guys that you need to remember that your words are sharper than a knife. So I think that's all from me.
Okay, so thank you. Now I want to ask Dr. Faris. As a sociolinguist, what do you think about heterophobic and homophobic jokes among Malaysians?
Okay, first of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Well, from my experience as a sociolinguist, well, this type of jokes, I mean that hetero, which is targeted to the straight people, and also the homophobic, which is targeted to the homo or the under falls under the LGBTQ movement. So this style of jokes, which is homo and hetero, it is called paranoid actually. So the homophobic jokes include the transgender, the bisexual. So it falls under the homophobic joke. So as a sociolinguist, it is really because in Malaysia, this type of jokes become so common that on Twitter and Instagram, you know that Nur Sajad or Sajad, Sajadah, yeah, maybe, and it is daily being attacked because he or she just people think that they don't mind, or with the way they push her or attack her verbally, will make he stop, will make that. But that kind of assumption is wrong actually, because these people need to be protected. We as the majority, which is the straight people, doesn't make. I mean, it is not our right to stomp them or to judge them, but instead, how about we? We protect them so that we show them the way that way there will be no more oppression, and also all kind of obscene physical abuse on them. Like, for example, you know that the cutout ladies at Shell, you know, right? The cardboard one that went viral. Well, several men tend to make this as a joke, so they post their pictures with her on social media. So making sexist jokes or sexually attack her. So that cutout have to be pulled back. So as you can see now, no more. That cutout cannot be seen anymore, right? At the shelf. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Dr. Faris. Now, Dr. Ain, as a representative from the Sohakam, is there any act or law that subject to this matter?
Thank you, Ms. Sharifah. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, unfortunately, there's no act that can be taken by Sohakam, but then one of our areas of work, which is education to Institute of Higher Learning students, which we often goes to university by university to promote awareness and provide education relating to human rights. So one of our biggest target group is the university students. So we start from there, and we hope that our action can make this matter lesser. Okay, thank you.
Oh, so there is no law. So, Dr. Akmal, as a linguist specialist, how can you recognize or perhaps assign when someone makes heterophobic and homophobic jokes?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moderator, for the question. Alright, first of all, these jokes are not always obvious because the offender always thinks it was only a fight and always think as a harmless joke. And they also think the word they use or they just say as being humorous and or just a joke. So for the offenders, the signs are not very obvious. But for the person that being attacked by these jokes, you can see the sign from first. The sign if you they are making these jokes, wooing like woo, also a sign of doing these jokes. And second, from hand sign, the sexual hand sign is also can count as the homo and hetero jokes from doing hand signs. And then lastly, these signs can also be seen if the person say something inappropriate. For example, something lewd that is not really good to hear. For example, you gay or something cannot be say here. I don't. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
So thank you for the answer. So, Dr. Zahira, as a psychologist, what leads people to make these jokes, and if they do it, is there any side effect or problem with their mental?
Okay, so as what usually happens, people do these jokes unintentionally. They think all of these jokes are just a harmless thing towards the others, especially their friends. In a finding of sexist jokes between two male participants and one female, it shows that the male participants were not influenced by a woman objecting the sexist jokes, but in fact they were highly sensitive to how they thought another man would react to them, which in a sense they will reduce their use of sexist jokes if they thought a man would object. This result shows these jokes to have a male bonding function, which is men making jokes to impress other men. This is also related to function for homophobic slurs. Most likely, making jokes about women or using homophobic slurs work to enhance straight male bonding, because women and gay represent the other, which the social psychologists refer to as outgroups relative to a heterosexual male in-groups. Thus, male bonding through sexist jokes and homophobic language may be an unconscious attempt to deal with a perceived threat coming from the change in the relative status of women and gay men. So, back to the second question, do they have problems in terms of their mental? Okay, so most of them do hetero and homosexual or homophobic jokes are only for fun. In a very rare occasion, some of them may be experience some traumatic past, which can lead to what they are now. But it is still very rare to find cases like that, since mostly they do jokes usually meant to show off their masculine traits. I found an article saying that you are not man enough if you are not being funny. So I believe by being not funny, it threatens their masculine traits. So I think that's all for me.
So, thank you. For the last question, Dr. Faris, can we all know how does it affect the victim and ways to avoid it?
Okay, thank you. So, how did it affect the victims? So, the victim will be when they are constantly attacked by the oppressor. So, it will affect them, physically, also mentally, which also can result in a lot of suicide. So, to prevent that from happening, we should look at this seriously, so that there will be no suicide or maybe depression, which Malaysians take it so easily and not so seriously. How to avoid? So to avoid this, when you are being attacked by somebody, so lodge a report. When it is you are being attacked at your workplace, so it is more easier to report them to your maybe officer. So in workplace, like maybe you are being attacked by your boss, So don't feel intimidated. Just report it so that the authority will take actions on their act. So that's all.
Okay, so thank you, Doctor. So, do we all agree that heterophobic and homophobic jokes are common among Malaysians? Do you want to add anything? Yeah.
Well, actually, heterophobic and homophobic jokes become so normal, so common in Malaysia that everybody keep on, if there is a random post on Twitter or Instagram, everybody race to comment on that particular post. So to compare or maybe to admit they are the funniest person in the world, I think. So these jokes become common nowadays without their thinking the cause and the effect on the victim. So that's all. Thank you.
So I want to add something. I am very aware that heterophobic and homophobic jokes are pretty common in Malaysia. So since Malaysia is an Islam country, I believe that there are majority of us who are not supporting LGBTQ, where you can see a lot on social media nowadays. All of the Malaysians have been throwing hate towards these gays and lesbians. I am not saying that I am supporting them, but this is already 2019. So I think we shouldn't use our social media, as a social media as a platform to throw hate towards strangers. So last but not least, we have come to the end of the forum. I would like to thank to all of the panelists for the informative and interesting talk. Now we come to question and answer session. Please mention your name and state to which panelist you address your question. Any question? Raise your hand. Yes.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Marisa Nasha. I have a question for Dr. Siti Sahira. Can you give me some suggestion on how to handle the patient who have been sexually harassed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Najat. Before you calm the patient, you need to calm yourself first, because you shouldn't be too eager to know what happened to them. So when we are handling any patient, we need to make sure they feel safe around you. Spread encouraging words, and tell them it's okay, and it's not your fault that the tragedy happened to them. So I think that's all.
So is there any questions? No? Yes.
My name is Muhammad Ismaiman, and I want to ask a question to Dr. Nurul Aina Dua. Actually, I'm a fan of your work, so I want to ask you, why mostly women that being harassed refuse to make a complaint? Is it hard to make that?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I can assume that the women that has been harassed are not aware of what they can do, and in some cases they are being threatened by the perpetrators. So, according to law, action can be taken against organizations that fail to act on complaints of sexual harassment from employees. According to Section 81F of the Employment Act 1955, an employee who fails to inquire into complaints of sexual harassment, inform the complainant of the refusal and reasons behind it, or submit a report of the inquiry, can be fined up to 10,000. So, as we can see here, that we need to promote more awareness to the women or even men, and so they can see what they can do. Am I answering your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess there's no more question. So, yes, one last question.
I'm actually very confused with your perception on heterophobic, because is there any a case where people are getting killed, are getting murdered, getting harassed for being heterosexual?
sexual. And I think someone mentioned about the cutout part. Is it you? I think you. Is that what you mean by heterophobic?
So, what did you understand with the heterophobic?
I think it doesn't exist actually, because heterophobic is very different from homophobic or Islamophobic, where people are getting killed for what they believe in, for what they are. And I think I haven't heard any single case where people are killed or getting injured for being straight.
Well, actually, when we have two organizations right now, which is no organization, the new agenda, I mean the LGBTQ movement. Well, there is no cases yet of the maybe some killing or random
For being straight.
for being straight. Yes. So not there is no cases yet, but still, when these two movements, I mean the straight and the LGBT, you know that the straight bully the LGBT or person. Well, there will be, if this thing, this operation, we cannot, I mean we cannot avoid. I mean by straight people, we have to avoid them from being from keep oppressing this the LGBT to prevent the LGBTQ movement to do the same thing on the straight people.
But you said yourself that we are the majority and they are minority.
Yes, we are still the majority.
Yes.
So when they you know, because mindset of people can change. When the LGBT movement, when they, I mean maybe there are cases which make them, you know, revenge. Maybe one of the people getting bullied, so they want to take revenge on that. So there is still no cases like this. Okay, thank you.